nobody cares about the Big 12 though, because the Big 12 sucks, and like that's why people vouching for y'all. Like y'all about to start getting Notre Dame treatment. People about to stop vouching for y'all to go to the playoffs because y'all do the same thing every time y'all get in. I mean, I know OU sucks, but don't get mad about it. Now, don't throw picks because OU sucks now.
No, you can keep doing it.
You're saying the Big 12 is not good because you're an SEC fan.
No, I'm saying the Big 12 is not good because everybody knows the Big 12 sucks. The Big 12 plays no defense.
So you're saying 5 teams. 5 teams that are worth mentioning in the SEC are better than the Big 12. Let me tell you who's.
What up? You're tuned in to Sports Talk with Amari and Christian, and today we are bringing you the latest in NBA news. And there has been a lot of moving parts in the NBA, so I feel like there's a lot of stuff we can hit on today, and we will touch on today. How you doing today, Christian?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm all right. What do you want to hit first?
Yeah, let's talk about James Harden and Russell Westbrook. You know, talk about the direction of the Houston Rockets.
Well, they went out. I think it's simple. I don't think it's any ill feelings between each other, but I think James Harden is tired of the state of the Rockets. Like, they've been in the same spot since he got there, honestly. They're not getting better, not getting worse, but they're not taking that next step to win a ring. So I think he's pretty much kind of fed up with that. And have you seen some of the possible landing spots for him?
For Russell or Harden?
For Harden.
I have not, because I mean I've seen more trade talks about Russell than James Harden, because I mean they're saying that Russell Westbrook wants out.
Harden has put it out that if things blow up in Houston, he would be interested in going to Miami, Philadelphia, or Brooklyn. And I think putting him with Joel Embiid would be dangerous. I think putting him obviously with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving would be dangerous. And I just don't see what Miami would give other than like
trades.
Yeah,
like
I don't see what Miami would give other than picks that would make them still a great team. Like you have to, in Miami, you lose a piece that's valuable regardless, right? Like if you have to trade Jimmy Butler, like that's still the heart of your team going for Harden. Or like I feel like the best way to work out is Ben Simmons and a pick for James Harden.
Yeah, I could see Russell Westbrook staying in the West. And I think a good fit would be LA, the Lakers.
No. How would that be a good fit?
I feel like that the Lakers have more to offer in trade-wise, especially if the Rockets are...
Who I don't think we would trade for Westbrook, though.
I could see them trading Kuzma.
We're trying to trade Kuzma for DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
So that would kill that. Like I don't see where he fit in with LeBron and AD unless he just takes a complete backseat, like a complete drop off in the role he's had in his career to this point, even last year. Like,
and that's the thing. Russell has to do that. I've always said, you know, even the year that he won MVP, that he has to take a step back because he's not that guy that can shoot 30, 40 times and score consistently. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's not a good shooter. I'm going to say that. He's not.
He's a good scorer. He's a great basketball player, but he's physical. He's not a great shooter.
But I think if he's going to ring chase at this point, he has to go to LA, either the Clippers or the Lakers, because I mean, or if he wants to go to a weaker, you know, conference, go to the East. But then we ask ourselves, which team does he fit in?
But that's the thing. He doesn't fit with any team in the West either. Honestly, like everybody already got guards, and if they don't got guards, they got LeBron and AD. Like I don't see where he can go be that number one guy anymore. Like can't go to Portland. They got 2 guards, and they don't like you, obviously. Can't go to the Clippers. They can't go to the Clippers. They got Kawhi in there. They got PG at the 2. So
yeah, and we already saw that Russell Westbrook and Paul George don't work out. They were a huge letdown in Oklahoma City. So, and you can't go to Golden State because they play a whole different style of basketball than what Russell Westbrook's going to play, because Russell doesn't shoot the three ball consistently. And what they would want is somebody to pass the ball around, and he's not willing to do that.
Mm-hmm. I think, well, obviously, like, I think that he could fit in there because he could be an attacker. He can drive the ball.
And this is why I say that he could fit into the Lakers. You have a veteran like LeBron James who could take over and mentor him if Russell Westbrook is willing to, right? I feel like if he would go to LA, he would listen to LeBron a lot more than he would any other superstar.
My thing is, though, like, right, Russell is a point guard, right? LeBron is a point guard, a point forward, you can say. But he's a starting point guard for the Los Angeles Lakers. How, at this point, he's been in the league, what, over 10 years, right? Since what, 2008? So at this point, he's too old for a mentor. He's just a star now, like, and I don't see him being able to just back down for LeBron. Like, in all respect to LeBron, like, I bet he respects LeBron just how everybody thinks he does. But to say that he's going to change his whole game to play with LeBron, I just don't see it happening. And both of them have to have the ball in their hands.
And it's extremely unfortunate because Russell Westbrook is not that guy. If I'm going to start a franchise right now, Russell Westbrook wouldn't even be in my top 5.
Not at all, but he's, like I said, he's older. It's a lot. It's a lot of dudes out there that wouldn't make my top 5 to start a franchise right now.
Yeah,
and that's just because the NBA is moving.
The way that Russell Westbrook is playing his game right now and how he carries himself, I understand why Kevin Durant left and why he went to Golden State after they blew that 3-1 lead.
I'm going to say this, though. I don't think Kevin Durant left OKC because of Russell Westbrook, though. He left because of the front office. The front office in OKC sucks, and they're cheap, and the coaching was stupid. The coaching literally was so predictable, and that's why they blew a 3-1 lead. When the games got close, when those last 3 games got close, they went to the same game plan every time, and it made Kevin Durant look like a bad basketball player when it was bad basketball being coached.
Mm-hmm. And it may not have been directly because of Russell Westbrook, but Kevin Durant is extremely better than Russell. Russell would sometimes take the ball out of Kevin's hands when it should have been, the other way around.
See, but I'm going to say this, though. A lot of the times, KD preferred that because they were already all right. And what I say about the same game plan when the game got close, right? The game plan for the Oklahoma City Thunder when the game got close was go to ISO ball with KD, right? Well, they would post him up, and teams started figuring it out, so they just doubled KD on the block. They doubled KD on the block, and Russell Westbrook was the only person there. Like, who else are you going to pass the ball to when the game on the line? You're the second best player, right? And he played bad. So that's a 3-1 lead blown.
If you think about it, the only place that Russell Westbrook's going to be happy that he's the only guy on the team is New York, the Knicks. It's the only place that he can land where he won't have to compete for a star role. He is the center of attention there.
I'm gonna tell you where you haven't said that I think would be a good spot for him. Milwaukee Bucks. They don't have a point guard. Giannis needs some help. I think he fit in great there.
That's assuming if Giannis stays.
He has to stay this year.
Weren't there trade talks about Giannis?
There are trade talks, but I don't think the Bucks are going to trade him.
And that's something I also want to, talk about, that there haven't been a lot of moves lately in the NBA since the season ended. I mean, granted that COVID-19 is still active, and, I don't think we've seen a lot of transactions in the NBA because of that. But
the biggest name in free agency made his decision already, though. Anthony Davis already said he's signing with the Lakers. So
yeah, I mean, there's no reason for you to leave.
Yeah, so that's why the NBA offseason has been so dead, it seems. But I think the biggest talks around the NBA offseason has been the December restart, the 72-game season, because a lot of teams didn't want it. A lot of teams with older superstars didn't want it.
Yeah, and I completely understand that. I mean, they want time with family, friends, and most importantly, they want their bodies to heal. But if you want to get the schedule, back to normal, you're going to have to restart the season relatively quick.
Mm-hmm.
So December is the only option right now. And that's why I said, we haven't seen a lot of free agent, players signing, elsewhere. That's probably due to the fact that it's the NBA season starting so quickly. You can't really make a decision that quick. Teams aren't really in talks with each other to like a full, extent that you'd see in past seasons. But I mean, I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see how teams recover, especially with LeBron James being older. Anthony Davis is, I want to say, not injury prone, but I mean, he's a different body style. When you're a big guy like that, you get injured easily. And especially for out in the West, we'll see how Golden State can come back because, I mean, they had injured players. Is Curry going to be ready? Is Thompson going to be ready? It's going to be an interesting season. I think it's going to be extremely competitive this year for sure.
How do you feel about the new uniforms popping up all over the league? Have you seen any of them? Philly decided to pay tribute to AI, and they dedicated and let him and Ben Simmons design a Philadelphia alternate uniform. That was pretty dope. The the Phoenix Suns have their Valley uniforms. Those are pretty dope. I'm excited to see. I think I like uniform changes. I'm very into that stuff.
Are those like their Christmas Day uniforms?
They haven't said. They just said alternate uniforms. I'm looking forward to that and ready to see more of that. NBA draft coming up. Who you got for your one pick?
It's gonna be LaMelo. I mean, let's be real.
You think LaMelo Ball?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that center from Memphis could be the number one pick. I think it honestly depends on who have they did the draft lottery yet? I think it honestly depends on that.
Yeah, so they already set the draft lottery. Minnesota has 1, Golden State 2, Charlotte 3, and Chicago 4. So I mean, Minnesota has already said they had interest in LaMelo, so I'd be surprised if they turn away from that, last minute.
Yeah, no, I think they should go get him.
It's definitely a risk, I would say that. But I mean, if he has the talent and you're willing to take that risk, then I don't see why not.
I just want to see somebody come in and help Karl Anthony Towns, like immediately.
The thing about Minnesota, I don't know, you really can't tell what direction their franchise is going.
Mm-hmm.
What are they trying to build around?
Yeah, I can see why you say that. It's difficult. I think being a small market team is very hard to attract superstars.
It's all about location now.
Yeah, very, very, very hard. So like you're gonna have to bring LaMelo Ball in. He's a kid from LA. You're gonna have to humble him and put him to work and get him some wins early so he can like being there.
I think that's the most exciting player that like I'm anticipating to watch, especially against these superstars. Like I want to see LaMelo face off with LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see how he handles that.
I think he's gonna like embrace it. I think he's big on like challenges. Like you can tell he wants to be in those situations where like the game is on him and he can make plays.
Like I like players when they trash talk and they're on social media saying this and that. But I want him to prove it. I want him to go out there and prove himself, because if it's just a bust, if he goes out there in his first NBA game and he looks absolutely awful, then I'm probably going to sit back and be like, you know what, maybe Minnesota made a mistake here. He has to have an above average start to the season for game 1. He can't go out there and score 2 points or 0 points, 0 effort on defense like you saw him play in high school. That's not going to fly in the NBA. So I want him to get off to a fast start. But let's transition into, since the NBA season is starting in December, let's talk about, fans. The Golden State Warriors said that their owners are trying to pay for COVID-19 tests. It would cost $30 million. How do you feel about that?
Too expensive.
And that's for 50% capacity.
I don't understand why you just won't let it play out. Obviously, like do like other teams, gauge it, like check the temperature on it. But I don't know. I guess like they took a big hit last season, so they're trying to recoup. But $30 million still is a big hit.
Yeah, if the owners are willing to pay for it, like they stated, then I have no issue with it. If people are getting tested, I have no issue with it. I think it's time for things to start going back to normal. We do see that there are reports of, rises in COVID, cases. But let's be honest. If you're going to get tested, why is that going to stop you from going to a social event? So I honestly don't understand why some people are hesitant about doing this. We saw that the Los Angeles Lakers said that there's 0 fans allowed
Yeah.
in Staples Center. But we have to ask ourselves, how long can this go on? You know, I know the NBA makes a lot of money and they can afford it, but there's, to a certain extent, they're going to say enough is enough, and they're going to allow people to be in their stadium.
All right, man. Let's get into some coaching changes around the league. A lot of interesting faces and new places, new head coaches. I would like to start off with Steve Nash and the Brooklyn Nets. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm skeptical. I'd like to see Steve Nash kind of take control of the Brooklyn Nets. Obviously, you have 2 superstars there, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. I honestly don't know why I feel this way, but I feel like they're going to butt heads.
Steve Nash and Kyrie Irving?
Yeah.
Why?
And KD. I mean, there's some people that are saying that the players weren't happy about that sign. I mean, was he qualified? I just think that they're all strong, minded, arrogant people. Maybe not Steve Nash, but KD and Kyrie Irving kind of have like a mind of their own. I don't think they want your typical coach. They can kind of do things on their own, but I don't know. I don't think it's a good fit for Brooklyn. I think it was a name. They just signed him because of his, his brand type deal. But I'm more excited about the Ty Lue sign with the Clippers than I am with Steve Nash. He's proved himself. I mean, he's coached people like LeBron James, and Kyrie Irving out in Cleveland. I think he could get Kawhi and Paul George in a situation that's going to put them over the Lakers this season. I think he's a better coach right now than Doc Rivers. Not on his career, but right now he is better. Doc Rivers probably flopped the biggest season that we've ever seen in, the NBA. You had 2 superstars. You were projected to win the NBA Finals, and you come out into the bubble and you look absolutely awful. So I think he's going to have the Clippers in a much better position than Doc Rivers had. That's why I'm excited to see what he has to offer. What about you?
I don't think the Ty Lue sign is going to be that good. Honestly, I don't think he's that good of a coach. His first head coach's job, he had LeBron James to anchor it for him. Come on now.
I mean, what do you think about Steve Nash? I mean, we all saw the reports that some people said he wasn't qualified for the job.
Yeah, but I think Steve Nash is going to work because of the people he have around him. Like he brought in Mark D'Antoni to be his assistant coach. So I think with Mark D'Antoni and his mind.
And that's why, let me clarify why I think it's not going to be a good match for Steve Nash and the Brooklyn Nets. There's no arguing that Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, they're arrogant. I don't think they take criticism very well. And you have a veteran like Steve Nash coming in who's going to want to handle, all the game time decisions, the play calling, in clutch situations. Is KD and Kyrie going to be open to that? That's my big question.
I think being a player like not too long ago is going to help Steve Nash, understanding the player's point of view and the player's perspective. I don't think he's going to come in and be power struck. You feel me? Like,
yeah, and I don't necessarily think it's that, but he obviously didn't get off to the right foot when, there's reports saying that he's not qualified for the job, and now you're seeing these, people from Brooklyn are seeing this. Oh, did they make a right decision by hiring Steve Nash? So what's the relationship like before he even starts coaching them? And that's another concern that I have. So how is he able to...
We're talking about people from Brooklyn. We're not getting the opinions of the people that matter.
Yeah, and that is true. But people are we've seen it, time and time again, people in sports are easily influenced by social media. So it all comes down to them, not listening to it. And hopefully they've done that. Because, I want to see Brooklyn succeed. I want to see Steve Nash succeed. And they're obviously in a pretty good position to win the East. So it'll definitely be interesting to see. But what other coaching changes stands out to you?
Well, Mark D'Antoni being fired was big, I feel like. Who else got a new coach?
It was a long time coming. No doubt.
Oh, Billy Donovan in Chicago. I think that was a pretty good pickup for Chicago and their young guys. I feel like he relates with the young guys very well. Alvin Gentry fired in New Orleans, and Stan Van Gundy hired.
Yeah, to the Pelicans.
I don't like that hire. Tell you why. Because I feel like these dudes with names that never really won anything in the NBA, like in the coaching world, I feel like they get way too much respect instead of getting new coaches in those positions to let them try to prove themselves. Like Mark D'Antoni downgrading to assistant coach, I think that's a great move because he's had his run as a head coach and he's just not he's not a great one.
Yeah.
It's the same thing every time.
Let me tell you a coach that's going to come up after this upcoming season. If things transpire, the way that things are kind of going in NCAA right now, Greg Marshall from Wichita State, there's speculations that they're going to part ways with him.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been conversations of him going to NBA. So I feel like whatever coach has a down year, Greg Marshall's going to be right there for consideration to be the next head coach, for an NBA franchise. Obviously, it's going to be a drastic change from coaching in Wichita State to an NBA team, but he's right there. I mean, how do you feel about that? I mean, he's a good coach. He accomplished a lot with very little.
Greg Marshall, I'm not sure. I don't think Wichita State ball is big enough, like year in and year out. I understand they're a great program year in and year out, respectively, but they're not Final Four, Elite Eight every year. So I don't see where it would translate. I don't know if his speed and his pace of the game he used to coaching is what the NBA is putting out right now.
Well, that is going to do it for us today. I'm Christian. That's Amari. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.